Hi, I'm Dave Epstein, and welcome to this edition of Growing Wisdom, where today we're going to talk about extending the season right through the holidays with vegetables. One of the ways in which you can extend your season is by protecting your crops. So by giving your crops a little bit of protection, even in the colder climates, you're going to be able to grow much longer. As a matter of fact, by using a couple of these methods, you'll be able to grow vegetables for Thanksgiving, Christmas, and maybe beyond. What I have here is a cold frame, and cold frames are something, it's a box, and what it does is it allows light to get into the box, and that keeps the area a little bit warmer than the surrounding environment. So this particular cold frame, right now, we've started some crops for winter. So we've got some lettuce growing, we've got a little bit of Swiss chard, we have some fennel here, there's some other greens coming up here. I've got a little bit of more lettuce, we've got some tarragon, and we also have some parsley. All of these things will be able to handle a significant amount of cold throughout the fall season. So what you can see here is a door which covers up the cold frame, and that protects it from a couple of things. One is it protects it from the cold. It also protects it from getting too much moisture. So as we go deeper and deeper into fall and early winter, the plants don't really need as much moisture at all. And what I'll be able to do is open up the door when it's above freezing, harvest what I want, close the door during the day, and then at night the plants will be protected. Cold frames can sit on something like this patio, and we have everything in containers here. We can also take the cold frame and actually put it in the ground, so instead of the plants being in pots, they'd be in soil. You can get the same effect by using a raised bed, and I want to show you what we're doing in another part of the garden. So here we are in one section of the vegetable garden, and what we have here is a raised bed. We've done this because we're on such a slope that the soil would sort of wash through, so we basically created a big box here, put soil in it, and we're able to grow the vegetables. So what this enables us to do is start vegetables earlier because I can cover this a lot easier. So I could take something like row cover. Now row cover is just a spun fabric, and this will protect these vegetables down to about 28 degrees. So I can also in the early spring start vegetables much earlier in here. I could also put hoops over this and cover it with greenhouse plastic, and what that would do is it would enable me to really grow much earlier underneath here by creating a low tunnel above the raised bed. On a cold night I can cover this up and protect all of these vegetables a lot easier. And in the morning when the sun comes up, it gets above 32, we pull off the cover and the plants will continue to thrive. So in order to get a raised bed or a cold frame, there's a few ways you can do it. You could build them yourself if you're very handy, or you can buy them online. The raised bed I showed you, we built ourselves, but we also just got this raised bed online, and I want to show you this. This is a really high quality raised bed. It's a little more expensive. I did a lot of research online before ending up deciding to get this particular raised bed. And what I like about it is that, number one, it's made of cedar, and it's a really high quality cedar, but there's no nails. So I'm a big proponent of having kids garden. As you guys know, if you watch Growing Wisdom a lot, we do this up at a camp, and the raised beds there, you know, we have the nails and the hinges, but the kids can catch their fingers on some of that stuff. But what's interesting about this raised bed is all of the hardware is interior. So once you put the thing together, it's just completely smooth. And I did this earlier this morning. We laid out all the pieces. We put them together. The only thing I needed was a hammer. It's pretty amazing. And then everything just sort of locks in here. This is one of the final pieces to go in. And you can see how these pieces just slip on. And then what you do So by hammering this together, what I'm doing is I'm getting rid of that gap between the two pieces. I'll fill this with soil, and we're actually going to move this into that section of the garden next to the existing raised bed. This will enable me to start vegetables earlier. I can choose whatever type of soil I want. So if I want to grow, say, root crops in here, I could make the soil a little bit sandier, a little bit loamier, depending on what my needs are. And then what I'm thinking of doing is this winter, we're going to take some of these hoops. We're going to build a hoop house right over this raised bed. So we'll take the raised bed, We'll put the hoops over it. We'll use that row cover I showed you, then plastic, and it'll look something like this. You can see here's a picture of one of the low tunnels, and this is another low tunnel in a different section of the garden, and we'll do the exact same thing over this raised bed. So whether you're building your own raised bed or you're purchasing it at a garden center or online, be sure to look for very high quality cedar. This one has a great center brace. It's going to keep it nice and square. And lastly, all of the hardware here is nice and hidden so that little kids aren't going to hurt themselves on the edge. For Growing Wisdom, I'm Dave Epstein.